Hey, yeah, I just got back from bass fishing, landed some nice ones. So I look like shit, but I always do. Anyway, Bernie was on Joe Rogan last night or yesterday, and I would tell you to watch it, but I don't know if I want to torture you folks that much. Poor Bernie, he is just a walking talking point. And even though Joe likes him and he respects him, this time, because Joe's growing a little bit, and he started, asking him some specific questions, and it was painful, bro. I mean, poor Bernie. He's talking about oh like climate change, and Joe's like, well, he's trying to show him some graphs in a Washington Post article recently that showed we're actually in a cooling trend. And Bernie's like, well, I haven't read that article, but and then Joe says, well, isn't China responsible for most of the pollution? I mean, Joe agreed the pollution itself is a problem. He wasn't talking about global warming, but isn't China responsible for most of that? And Bernie's like, well, yeah, that's true. True. I don't have all the answers, Joe. I don't. It's a complicated problem. I don't have all the answers, Joe. And then when he was talking about the tax rate, he was talking about he wanted. Let's see, I wrote it down. He wants 32-hour work week, free college, raise the minimum wage, free health care for everyone. And Joe's like, we got a $37,000 trillion deficit. How are we going to pay for this? And Bernie is like, tax the billionaires. And Joe says, well, how much should we tax the billionaires, the 778 billionaires we have in the country? And he's like, 90%. And Joe's like, well, I think that's too much. I mean, I don't want to pay 90%. And Bernie's like, well, just the billionth dollar. You tax 90% on the billionth dollar, as if anybody actually has $1 billion a year salary. Then he talks about, what else did he have on there? With the free college. He wasn't talking about if you want to be an engineer or a doctor or something valuable. It's like, so if you want gender studies, my tax dollars are supposed to pay for 4 years of you playing around in college and studying gender. But we can't choose what people want to study, Joe. It was just, and he kept saying over and over, well, I don't have the answers, Joe. I mean, I don't have all the answers, Joe. It's a complicated subject, Joe. And it's just, when he's talked about, Joe also didn't, they were talking about food. And, the fact that we have, processed food that's really bad for us and addictive. And Bernie's like, oh, preaching to the choir, Joe. And now Joe didn't ask him, and I wish to God he would have. Well, why didn't you vote to support RFK's nomination? He voted against RFK, so he basically sounded like RFK, mimicking everything RFK says. But when it came right down to it, he didn't vote for RFK, which I really wish Joe would have asked him that. Um, what else was he talking about? Free healthcare for everyone. Like, even if the guy is 500 pounds and he eats 3 pizzas a day and chain smokes cigarettes and drinks scotch, and then we're supposed to pay for his health care forever. We have Medicare. Medicare helps poor people. We have Obamacare that helps people that aren't that poor but don't make that much. And then there's a lot of other health care. But anyway, his answer is free health care for everybody, 32-hour work week. Now, Joe asked him this really interesting question. Joe said he's talking about automation and how it's costing us jobs. And Joe says, well, look, let's say you're Ford, and there's some equipment that you can buy, this technology that's going to make your cars cheaper, faster, better, higher quality. You can be more competitive. You can sell the cars for less price or make more profit. And so they should just not employ that technology. Nope. So, Joe, you have to tell Mr. Ford or Mr. GM, I'm sorry, but you can't fire employees because the American people. And it's like, okay, there is no Mr. Ford. There is no Mr. GM. Check your 401k, check your IRA. If you're, check your pension and retirement. It's people own Ford and General Motors. There is no Mr. Ford or Mr. General Motors. There's nobody that owns more than 1% of those companies. So, again, Bernie is just so out of touch and so ridiculous. And I'm sorry, before I saw this, I thought Bernie is a socialist, and he's not a socialist. Bernie is a communist. He was actually talking about the owners owning the means of production, which means the employees own the company. He didn't mention, so what happens when you're starting the company and you have to invest a bunch of money to get the company going? Should the employees invest their money as well to invest so the company can get going? And what if it's not profitable the first 3 years or 4 years or 5 years? Should the employees work for free? If the company loses money that year, should the employees say, okay, not only did I work for free this year, but I got to give you money? See, that's the idea is once the company is up, established, all the sacrifices have been made, all they've gone out of business or not gone out of business, and somehow the companies that survive and become successful, suddenly the employees get to own those companies. But they don't want to own the startups. They don't want to invest their money to get the company going. They don't want to absorb the losses that are inevitable when you're starting a company. I mean, Jesus Christ, Amazon lost money for the first 20 years of their existence. If you were working for Amazon and you wanted to share in the profits or own part of the company, that means you would have taken a loss every year. And every year when you went to work, rather than getting a paycheck, you would have to go to your savings account and pay because, well, my company that I want to own lost money this year, so I guess not only did I not make money, but I lost money. No. You only want to own the means of production when it's successful. Anyway, watching this interview makes me just more Republican than I ever have been in my life. Watch it. It's less than 2 hours. Joe was he was polite. He called him out on some things that he hadn't called him out on last time. I think Joe's a little more educated and a little more red-pilled than he was last time he talked to Bernie. So it was hard for me to watch, but I did watch the whole hour 58 minutes. And that's why I had to go fishing today, because I had to clear my mind. All right, bye.